All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. We're going to talk about something extremely interesting today, which is the core of the Earth actually slowing down, reversing, and possibly affecting the time. Now, you guys know I've talked about this for years. In fact, after the Earth rang like a bell, I talked about my kind of side theories that I thought that it may have changed the world. After the 2011 earthquake, they said that the day was shortened or lengthened by a fraction of a second. It was a very weird announcement after that. They said that it screwed things up with our planet. But now they're saying that a study confirms that the rotation of the Earth's inner core has slowed. Now, many people look at this and they go, oh, this is, they're finding out that this is all normal. They don't really know what's normal as far as the inner core of our Earth is. Or if they do, they probably wouldn't tell us. If it was a bad thing, if there was bad news regarding this, then they would not tell us. Now, I know that there is an inner debate in our community. There are certain people on one side of this debate and others. When they first talked about the reversal of our core, there was people in our community and different sides that were saying, hey, this is what I believe. Here is my findings. Here's this. It was essentially science, and then there was a few big names in YouTube that follow all of this stuff that said they did not believe this. I think it was Ben from Suspicious Observers, but again, I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be. What I am talking about is what they're saying, and they're saying that the slowing of the Earth's inner core is now reversal, and now they say that they have some more evidence behind it. Before, I don't know if it was more speculation or based on something else, but again, now we have more information about it. So before we get into that, I do want to remind you guys, all of the sources for today's show is over on marfooglenews.com. You can find a full source list and a bibliography over at marfooglenews.com. All you have to do is just find our website, go and click this thumbnail at marfooglenews.com. It'll bring you to the page, and you'll have a full source list of everything that we show you here today. Let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So first of all, we've actually covered several things around this subject, and we've actually done polls. I've done polls about how if people felt like time was going faster. I actually feel like time started going really fast, and not just like you're getting older or time, if time flies when you're having fun. And it's not just an older thing. Like as you get older, of course, time does seem like it's just flying by. It may be something with our brain getting older and forgetting or needing space in our brains, so we wipe out old memories and it feels like all of that time just flew by, when in reality it's going the same speed. But people, even young people, have said that in the last 10 years, it feels like time is speeding up. In this case, a lot of folks are actually saying that it might actually be slowing down, but we'll talk about that here in a second. But Dex, do you want to talk about what the University of Southern California and the scientists say that they have proven, or their theory on this?
Well, yeah, and last time it was the core stopped, wasn't it? Isn't that what we talked about? And they were people were theorizing that, and I think that turned into a debate online quite a bit. But look, there's a new study, another group coming out, University of Southern California. They have said that they have proven that the inner core is backtracing, meaning it's slowing down in relation to the planet's surface. So the movement of the inner core has been obviously debated for many decades by many different researchers. And they said, when I first saw the seismograph that hinted at the change, I was stumped, said John Vidal, Dean's Professor of Earth Sciences at USC. He said, but when we found 24 more observations signaling the exact same pattern, the result was inescapable. The inner core had slowed down for the first time in many decades. Other scientists have recently argued for similar or different models, but our latest study provides the most convincing resolution. So they're also describing this backtracing or slowing down as it's relative to actually being a reversal. I think the term they used was something along the lines of it reversing. Not actually, I don't know if that means it's spinning, but it's reversing in the sense that the amount of speed that it was once moving in relation to the outer core or the outer Earth And now that it's slowed down, it's like it's moving back because the outer is moving faster where it used to move faster. So it does feel like a reversal, or it is a reversal. It's just not spinning in a different direction.
And back when they said that the core stopped, right? First of all, when people say, wait, what? The core stopped. One thing I don't understand is when you first hear that, you're like, what? So if they say that we're, flying through, if we're flying through and spinning at 11,000 miles per hour or whatever, if the Earth's core stops, you would think that there'd be some serious, damage or something would happen. If you spin an egg on a table and then tap the top of it and stop it, the inner core of the egg keeps spinning, and then it keeps it spinning. Basically, if you were to do that here, they're saying that the egg is spinning, and then all of a sudden the inner yolk is going backwards. So that's kind of crazy if you ask me. I don't know how it works, but I would assume that it would mess up plate tectonics and things that are going on underneath. There's, of course, the inner core and the outer core, at least that's what they say. Again, when you actually go to the science of this and how deep they've actually gone, we didn't have tools up until very recently to get that deep. They only had, in some ways, they had a lot of things that were just theorized based on observation and physics and things that we already knew. As far as the mantle and then the inner core, they say is slowing down in relation to the mantle. Well, can that cause issues? Is that a reason why all of these folks are building bunkers and these rich elites like Zuckerberg are building $300 million mansions? Would they get a heads up on something like that? If the U.S. government or any of the governments of the world did some sort of scientific study and they went a step further and they found out exactly what's going to happen, do you think they would tell the public? I don't. But again, I hope that something like that never happens during our lifetime. Now, scientists are also saying that it feels like the day drags on. Scientists confirm the length of days on Earth is increasing and say that the rotation of our planet's inner core is to blame. So, and by the way, this is the same week that a lot of talk about Cascadia subduction zone being overdue. About earthquakes, about our fault lines, about our they just came out with a new study saying that the Cascadia subduction zone, 700-mile fault line, the huge subduction zone that goes from Canada to California, it's going to cause a 9.0 5-minute earthquake, worse than Japan, on our west coast. Our west coast is going to look like Japan soon. It's an imminent thing. They say that is actually broken up into 4 chunks, so they just found that out. That came about 3 days ago or 4 days ago, the news of that. Now they're talking about the inner core and how the time is dragging on, that it's reversal. By the way, back when we covered when it stopped, it was theorized that it was maybe it was Ben. Somebody said that it was actually, it's not so much stopped, that it would slow down and then it would start reversing, and that it's a cycle, that it's something normal, right? Well, even normal cycles, as we've seen in history and the things that we do know and very little people argue about, there's a lot of things that people debate whether it happened or not happened. There's a lot of things that everybody agrees on that is cyclical, that these cycles happen. During these cycles, there's been dangerous times on Earth when these cycles kind of come around. That's the one thing that preppers and other people worry about, is if we end up living through any of these cycles. There's multiple different events from every different angle, and if one of those lines up with our lifetime, then yeah, it can get pretty scary. Say something happens with the core that maybe changed the tectonic patterns, and we have a bunch of earthquakes and volcanoes go off, or we have different weather, or our magnetic field somehow is affected. These are all things that folks are thinking about. But as far as time, now, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you have something that goes off the atomic clock, or I guess the atomic clock, the closer you are to Earth, the faster the time is. Something like that. They actually say that the farther you are away from Earth, that the time is changed somehow. That time, I don't even understand it. But I'll look into it in the couple minutes before the main show tonight, and I'll tell you exactly what I was talking about, because I read something very, very fascinating, and I'm not going to try to rephrase it or paraphrase it. Yeah, but they say that by looking at earthquake data, they found that the inner core began to slow around 2010, which is kind of crazy because that's right before the 2011 Japan earthquake, and is now moving backwards, subtly affecting the Earth's rotation in space. However, don't expect to enjoy more hours in the day just yet, as the researchers say that the change may be very hard to notice. But actually, a lot of people since then have actually noticed that it's going faster, that the day's not dragging on. I don't feel like it's dragging on. I feel like something's different. I definitely feel like something changed, right? It wasn't just getting older. Like, I understand getting older, it goes by faster. But I mean, like, you look back and you're like, where did this time go? It's really quite insane. But yeah, and then it talks about the mantle and how big it is and all of that. The fascinating part here is that they're saying that because of this, that it may have changed the actual the way that we perceive and we understand time, that we actually feel these tiny differences, right? It's very, very, very crazy. If you want to read more about this, then make sure to go over to our website, marfooglenews.com. We're also going to touch on this with a very interesting story tonight on Marfoogle TV, our other show. If you want to join us for that, you should. Also, if you want to support us in any way, we are completely independent, and protect yourself against not only an EMP strike from from an adversary, but also a Carrington-level event from the sun. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. It's a device that you can put in your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, generators, solar generators in the case of the Flex Tactical and Flex 1500, and even in your home to protect you against both of those events. It is a 2-for-1. In fact, for the house version, it's a 3-for-1. It actually protects against lightning as well. Each one of these devices, you get $50 off with our discount, and you are helping our independent media. We are completely on our own, and the next few months is going to be crazy. So if you want to help more than anything, just make sure to share our stuff out, and then make sure to subscribe if you're not. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Dex and I will be going over this a little bit more over on the other show, and we're actually going to add a very interesting video that just came out, and we'll be touching on that. So make sure to join us. Thank you, Dex. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
And if you would like to see our full-on 2-hour show of all of the last 4 hours of events, make sure to click here. If you're watching the replay, click here, and it will bring you to the next show. Otherwise, just click the description down below. We'll see you in just a minute. Be safe, be prepared, and be on time. We'll be right back.